like. People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on.
As the big man Ian Wright said there, people deluded, I'm back again. According to an ex-Premier League footballer, if and when, and again, a big if, Arsenal sign Gyökeres, allegedly he'll be a flop. We've seen 4 injuries in a week, people, which again sums up our season beyond the obvious. And it was a sizzler of a return from Bukayo Saka. Not his most glamorous goal, but it was written in the script that he would bag. And he scored with his head, something that, quote-unquote, Gyökeres struggles to do, people. Big up you lot. It's my second live stream of the day, technically third, because we was here early in the morning. We're obviously here now, and then yeah, we big up Alex Different Not. Make sure you subscribe to them. We're there. We was here, he was here, so yeah, big him up. And at 4 p.m. I'm gonna have DJ B, Aaron Talks Arsenal, and obviously Uncle Kenny Ken, man. So the work don't stop, the grind don't stop. And in between that, I did say we're going to get our home stream, and I actually want to edit my match day vlog and things like that. I wouldn't even call it a vlog. I just thought, you know what, it's a chance to throw some content together. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button. If you're on Twitch, make sure you're following with Amazon Prime. Big up you lot tuned in. Let me know your thoughts in relation to the game. We've got a lot to discuss and go over, people, as you can see via the headline. So yeah, man. I'm kind of bored about talking about Fulham now. It weren't the most glorious game. I would say prior to the game, I don't think anybody expected us to get a clean sheet. In fact, to be fair, big up Harry Sim. You make sure you're following Chronicles of a Gooner, because when I was in the press box, I spoke to him, Art DeRoche, Frimmy, Adrian Clark, all the guys that I know in it. And we was all saying we'd win, but Harry's the only one that said we'd keep a clean sheet. And to be fair, he should have been right, because we conceded a sloppy goal. If I was picking at things, I think Mikel Arteta could have micromanaged a bit better. I think Tierney could have come on just to see out the game. Ryan Sessegnon was getting a lot of joy down that. Not even, that's an exaggeration, but you could just see what was going to happen. And there was literally minimum, but there was a couple of counter attacks. Obviously, Munoz bagged, and he banged in that regards, but he missed a sitter prior to that. I think, you know, it's standard procedures in that. Fulham had a low block, you know, 5 at the back, 5-4-1, conceding possession to us, and bar the occasional counter attack or lapse in concentration. That's the only time they looked like they would score in the first half. We obviously got the goal. I think Mikel Merino had a good game. I think Nwaneri and Timber in the first half. I think Martinelli was very positive. You know, if he stayed on side, he would have had a goal. Him and Nwaneri could work on staying on side, by the way. And he got an assist. Lovely bit of Brazilians, as I coined the phrase. Odegaard's struggles kind of continue. So yeah, man, I think we dominated possession. It was a low-key affair. I think of recent years, when you hear Arsenal versus Fulham, I'm happy because we won the game, but when you hear Arsenal versus Fulham, you expect a bit more of a hairy game. And to be fair, I'd say the highlight of my night beyond the obvious was listening to Mikel Arteta, but also I would say Marco Silva's press conference. I think he was very critical of his team, and it was nice to see a manager be that thorough. So yeah, we could have and probably should have, and on another occasion, if we had a striker, would have scored more. I think we need to get, I've been saying this all season, I don't think we're at high standards defensively, and I think we need to get back to those standards of last season. Obviously, the bigger talking points of the game is Saka returning, written in the script. And I said this when I was live with Alex. I don't think a player, certain man, will score goals at the Emirates, yeah, and have scored throughout the years. The numerous players we've had since we've been open. Certain man will score goals, and the Emirates will not erupt how it did when Saka's name was announced in the match day squad. How, you know, the reaction to seeing him warm up on the sideline, to seeing him come off the bench and evidently bagging. The man's a cult hero, and I'm going to go as far as to say already he's one of the best Arsenal footballers for me that I've seen in the history, and he's definitely one of my favorite. I mean, the man's a cult hero. He's like the modern day different, but in terms of being a cultural figure, I would say Ian Wright-esque, Rocastle, RIP-esque, big up Bukayo Saka. So yeah, man, and we can't get away from the obvious, innit? We have to wait how the situation evolves. You'd imagine Mikel Arteta, to be fair, he's quite evasive on fitness and players returning and that, but you'd imagine in the build-up to Everton away, we'll get some sort of inkling as to whether Gabriel Magalhaes and Timber can feature against Everton. And if they weren't to feature against Everton, you want to pray to your lucky stars that they're obviously going to be about for the Real Madrid game. Benjamin White, apparently he was close to being in the match day squad, but he wasn't. But injuries have been a theme of our season, and it doesn't look good, does it really and truly? You know, worst comes to worst, if we just assume on paper that there's no Timber, no Gabriel Magalhaes, and no Benjamin White against Real Madrid, who the hell plays in our back five? I can answer one of those questions. It would be obviously David Raya. What would be my line? I would say David Raya, Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back. I'm going to go Saliba and Kivior as the centre halves. And then you're probably looking at Partey in midfield, which by default could mean a midfield, Partey at right back. So that could mean a midfield of Odegaard, Rice, and probably Mikel Merino. You've got Wanyeri, you've got Trossard, and you've got Martinelli. It's not ideal. And if there was, I know one man can't change the fortunes of this football club. Smash the like button, because you can change the fortune of this channel, man. We can stop being underrated if you look, smash the like button. We need depth. We need quality on one hand, and we need depth, man. You know, like every question we had going into the season, we've seen it play out. What if Odegaard loses form? What with Benjamin White? What if we don't rotate? And we've had a lot of hamstring injuries, and I think these players, in hindsight, probably owed it. Now, I want to pick my words rightly, but with the amount of football Saka has played in the last couple of seasons, Declan Rice to say, Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Magalhaes, Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz, there's got to be a correlation with that. And yeah, man, you know, I don't know how far the injury excuse goes, but yeah, man. Apparently, Ben White missed the match to be with his wife who was giving birth, which, you know, alhamdulillah for that, you know, big up his wife. Hopefully it's a healthy kid and whatnot. I hope that is the case. I really do. I hope it's nothing else. Timber looked okay. Big Gabs less so. I mean, if Gabriel Magalhaes is out, then I don't want to say that's his season done, but we're approaching the end of the season, so it's peak, really. And I would say, on one hand, I think we, including myself, exaggerate rotation. I don't think we need rotation as much as we see, but there has to be some. I think, A, we don't have enough bodies. Two, going back to the quality versus quantity, yes, there's a conversation, but it interlaps. There's clearly too much of a drop-off if Saka isn't there, if Magalhaes isn't there, etc., etc. You get where I'm going, man. Hoping Timber went off as a precaution. After all, he was back after being ill for most of the international break and was just not fully match fit. I hear you, but the illness, I'm always wary of when managers say a man's ill, because you can't really prove that. Now, being devil's advocate, was Timber struggling in the international break? And then obviously he's got through that game, because if we're honest, you know, credit to Timber, he's one of our player of the seasons. But I'm sure if you ask Mikel Arteta and you ask Timber, he's probably had more minutes in his legs than we probably would have banked on off the back of the ACL, man. DG breaking down barriers, man. My guy in press conferences and thing, they can't stop ghetto youths. Appreciate that, Moss. I don't know about breaking barriers. I haven't achieved a damn thing yet. But I hope so, man. I hope so. All we can do in this life is try, man. And when I die, whether I achieve what I want to achieve, I just want people to say, you know what, that guy there, he gave it his all, man. He gave it his all. DG, the injuries are on Arteta and squad building before the season starts. We know what's ahead of us. They failed us by having a thin squad. I hear you. I wouldn't say, I think that's a bit harsh, but I would say the drop, well, no, the chain reaction with injuries is Mikel Arteta and the recruitment front's issues, because 3 times last season cried about having a small squad, keep saying the magic number 19. Yes, you can do that if everybody's fit, but when you even break down the 19 squad, injuries happen. Injuries to footballers are like chefs cutting their hand, as you guys all know. But who's really durable in this Arsenal team? Saka, Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, typically Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Magalhaes, Saliba, Martinelli, Timber, Lewis-Skelly, Raya. Obviously, let's disregard the goalies. But then you look at Kieran Tierney, well, Kivior's one, but Kieran Tierney, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus. These lot are sure bankers. Partey, ironically, has been magically injury-free relatively, and we hope that continues. These lot are sure bankers to have lengthy layoffs, whether it's 2 weeks here and then the next 2 weeks here, or it's a lengthy layoff. Like, we knew what was happening. So for me, you're right in that it's the drop-off. It's the domino effect, because we know this. And I do think Arsenal fans get into this trap of assuming a season is going to have ideal situations. At the end of the day, the vast majority of our squad play for their country. I think there's a wider discussion to be said about the amount of games that all players have to play, but it's not going to change. It isn't going to change. International and club level, they're playing a lot of football. They don't get really any rest. So all we can do is have more numbers and have more quality squads. And I think that goes for everyone. And where the injury front's concerned, we've known this. We've known this. We've seen Liverpool's season be derailed in previous years via injuries. We've seen what one injury has done to Man City with Rodri and also us with Saliba. Last season we was relatively injury-free, but we missed 3 key players to the squad in Tomiyasu, more so Timber and Partey. So we've had more than ample time to heed these warnings, really. And we want to be a team that aspires to compete on 4 fronts, which we went out of 2 cups in a week. Obviously, been blown out the water by Liverpool. We need more squad depth. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Gyökeres works. If Marino and Havertz can score 15 goals, imagine an actual goal scorer. Tell them again, Ash. The number of games, close fixtures, the defensive duties coupled with the possession style of play and just bad luck has caused the injury crisis. It's just a mixture of things, man. It's just a mixture of things. Arteta doesn't seem to be learning about running players into the ground. Martinelli needed to be subbed off when 2-0 up. When you have Sterling on the bench, only fit attacker at the moment is Martinelli. What about Trossard? Big up, Charlie. You're always here. People have a point. I can't lie. Our only weakness is the low block. If Gyökeres can only do a transitional thing with a lower aerial ability, then it's not worth it. I've seen Osimhen eat against a low block. I hear you, yeah. But if everybody struggles, you can't really hold that against Gyökeres. And I don't think it's a point without validity, if that makes sense. But I do think, even myself, because we know we like to analyze games and that we're doing too much. If you're a good striker and you're presented chances, are you going to score? In this modern day, I'm not saying you're perfect or you're the only choice, but in terms of what a striker is demanded to do, either in the modern day or the Mikel Arteta system, do I think Gyökeres can drop into midfield? Yes. Do I think he can link up, play out wide? Yes. Do I think he makes good runs? Yes. Do I think he has a variety of goals? 100%. I think he can do better with his, I do think he can do better with his head. I do think there's a tax that has to be applied to what he's done in Portugal versus here. Yeah, he scored a lot of penalties. You're not going to get that at Arsenal, so you have to not discredit, but discount. But I've seen enough to say you might not. I think Isak is the only one which we're not going to get, which I'm like, yeah, 100%. I like what Sesko could become, but there's positives and negatives there. Gyökeres the same. And, where if you were to sign it's going to be big money, and a flop is a flop. A good signing is a good signing. But where you look at Hugo Ekitike and Sesko, them man are younger. There's more margin for error. For Gyökeres, he's going to be 26 and probably not our top earner, but something decent. That could be a positive because that's the move he's been waiting for now and whatnot. Point to prove all that jazz. But then there's an issue. But yeah, you are right with the low blocks. But is that a Gyökeres issue or is that an Arsenal issue? I think if we move the ball quicker, our man is going to score a lot more. Again, I think there's deeper issues and there's going to have to be an element of adapting. And at this moment in time, rightly or wrongly, and I'm being a bit silly with this, but we've seen Kai, regardless, for the last 2-3 years, we've been talking about these low blocks. I'm not saying Kai Havertz is perfect, but he's ended up being one of our top goal scorers. Mikel Merino somehow managing to score goals. So a proven striker, really, he's not going to score goals? Really? I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying he's going to struggle. I'm not saying he's a man without faults. I'm not saying he's a world-class striker, but how far does this go? Wouldn't be my first choice, but I don't think it's that deep, man. Take that silly hat off. Happy Wednesday, folks. Big up DG in the nation. Slap the likes. Our drunk uncle, mate. Martinelli on fire last night. Big up DG. I think fire is an exaggeration being at the game, but he had a positive game. Lovely bit of skill to sit his fullback down. Obviously, great bit of Brazilians for the assist and whatnot. The sitter, Muniz, Miss Lewis Skelly was warrantably switched off. That Lewis Skelly's got to learn. He's got a lot to learn defensively. Yeah, you're doing well. Having a great season. I think you're at where you're at as an 18-year-old. I don't expect you to be the finished article. You can do the inverted midfield thing, inverted fullback thing, sorry. But yeah, there's a lot he needs to improve defensively. And I think he was crackered, if I'm honest with you, towards the end. And I think Arteta needs to be a bit proactive. I think Arteta could learn to be a bit more proactive in that regards in that game. I do think we need to create more and obviously score more. And there were minimal but half chances that Fulham probably could have, should have, and would have on another day taken advantage. So there's always something to learn, but whether it's a game that not that it don't mean much, but it's not the game we're going to hyper analyze in Fulham or several games that we've played in the league and whatnot. There's always something to learn, man. A man said, how can I change my poll? I clicked yes accidentally. No way on earth is Gyökeres flopping at Arsenal. If Marino has 5 in 8 games, imagine a prolific striker. I don't think Isak's the only one I think would be perfect. But even that, is he going to stay fit? Is Mikel Arteta going to tweak the system to get a bet out of the striker? Is he going to deliver on his price tag? Gyökeres, there's several talking points. Sesko, Hugo Ekitike, Vlahovic, Osimhen. There's not one single striker we can sign that there isn't something to be said. And I don't know how much I take in the Gyökeres rumors, if I'm honest with you, because on one hand, David Ornstein's not going to come out and say things for no reason. That obviously gives us some sort of believing that happens. On the other hand, we ain't signed him or made bids, or at least to our knowledge, there could be chatting that's going on in the background, but we haven't heard anything. And also, we know we do this kind of thing as a club. You know, we got Real Madrid coming up, we've got Everton. We're trying to end the season as strongly as we can. Bert has been announced. We finally know our sporting director. Coincidentally, we're linked with Gyökeres. Now, if David Ornstein never spoke about it, I would just think it's paper talk, because Gyökeres has been linked with Atletico Madrid, much like everybody in Europe. I don't know if this is an Arsenal signing or a Berta signing, and I don't know where you lot fall on that, because again, what's reported and what's actually going on in the world of football is two different things. But you'd be led to believe, to us armchair experts and just fans of the game, right, that Sesko's the one we're going for, putting in the groundwork, for the best part of a year or two, etc. Berta's come in, and now we're linked with Gyökeres, where Gyökeres is kind of like win now for the present. He's 26 years of age. Sesko is 21, 22. So I don't know if Berta's come in and said, you know what, we need to do this Gyökeres thing. He's going to hit the ground running. I'm a fan of his. I'm going to convince you lot that this is the one. I don't know. But I've also said, I genuinely think you're very naive as an Arsenal fan if you just assume we get a better left winger, we get a better striker, and we've got Saka, and there's no attacking concerns. There's a lot Arteta is going to have to arrest on a footballing ground. Whoever that striker is, like what you see with Pep and Haaland, he's going to have to adapt to that striker and put the best foot forward in that regards. Also, I just think we moved the ball a bit too slow at times. I don't think we found a solution to breaking down low blocks. Regardless of who signs for this football club, there is that. Of course, we don't counter attack enough, quick enough either. I always think good players can link up with good players, man. So I think Gyökeres will be okay, man. He's had good and bad experience. Didn't work out from at Brighton. Went Coventry, made a big jump from Coventry to the Portuguese league. Probably has the fire in his belly in that regards. And every signing is going to be a risk. And I don't think there's one that's really going to appease fans. Big up DG. Let me guess. Rivals don't rate Gyökeres anymore. He's linked with Arsenal. Non-Arsenal fans can say what they want about our players, and they can do what they want. All I care about is Arsenal. And if Gyökeres comes in and scores goals, great. I think his hold-up play is good. I think his link-up play is good. I think his channel games were good. I don't think he's slow, but I don't think he's the quickest. But he's quick up here with the speed of thought. I think he's a very intelligent and street-smart player. So I wouldn't cry. I'm not saying we should move heaven and earth and he's the best striker in the world, but I think we could do a lot worse. I think we've got a lot worse. And whatever we say about Gyökeres, whether he's the guy or not, would Gyökeres and Saka as two of our front three sound a lot better than, respectfully, he had a good game yesterday, Mikel Merino, or Kai Havertz, who's a lot more consistent than his teammates, or Gabriel Jesus, yada, 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 people. So it is what it is, man. We can move it quicker with a striker that moves well around the low block. Gyökeres apparently doesn't move much in that way. I'm just saying we don't do transitions anymore. I hear you. Our game is possession-based breakdown. I'm just not getting my hopes up with that signing. This is why we are linked to Williams so much, a player for the system. Prime level Nelly, if he can get the levels back up, plus Gyökeres and Saka would be top tier. You lot know me. I love Gyökeres. I love Martinelli, but I kind of have to stop with a lot of these players. There's a lot of just accepting what man are rather than what they could be, if I'm honest with you, man. DG, do you think people from the club watch your content? Yeah. Tierney should start left centre-back. Might as well go free at the back if that's the case, if I'm brutally honest. Without Gabriel, I have far less confidence going into the Madrid games. Mbappe will eat Kivior alive. And even that, yeah, like Gabriel's the leader of the defense. That's beyond the obvious quality and the injuries in that. That's the one thing I am wary about, because you've got a young Lewis Skelly out there. Everton away is going to be dark anyways, but you've got a young Lewis Skelly out there. To be fair, I don't know who's going to be playing right back, but let's just assume the worst. You've got Partey right back. You've got Kivior and Saliba. You've got Lewis Skelly. You could say bring in Tierney and maybe put Lewis Skelly in midfield, or maybe there's even playing around to do with Declan Rice. None of this is ideal. Who is the leader? Gabriel Magalhaes is the leader, and you need leadership in games like that. Anyone that's played Sunday League, you have to lead and be accountable yourself, but there's always that guy in the centre-half pairing. Yo, get compact, press, talking and whatnot. And to be honest with you, I'm not even dissing Kivior, but like just on that left-hand side with Kivior and Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly's the more, I don't want to use these outdated terms, but more the alpha male-y kind of thing. But it goes back to what we said at the start of the live stream, which was smash the like button, but also depth, man. Losing Gabby took the joy out of the win. Yeah. How bad is it looking for Big Gabby? I mean, hamstring for me, anything is 2 weeks minimum. It could be up to 6 weeks. Hopefully it's not a tear. we're at. It's one that we're only gonna know either when we play Everton or Real Madrid, or when Arteta or Mikel Arteta or the club give an update. You'd imagine he had some initial treatment and a scan tomorrow. But like with all injuries, every day and every hour as it develops, that's when you're provided with some new information. On one hand, Gabriel Magalhaes looked a bit like, yeah, I know I'm done for. And I do think on one hand, players know themselves, they know their bodies, you know if you're in trouble. But then on the other hand, he is not a doctor. He could be stressing and it could be a lot better. But it goes back to what I was saying, the quality versus quantity. You know, in terms of quality, I want a quality striker, I want a quality left wing, I want a quality centre mid, and you want quality, but we also need a bigger squad, which goes into quantity. As I said, they're two separate entities, but they do interlap, because I don't know who you get, but if Gabriel Magalhaes isn't there, the drop-off is big. If Saka isn't there, the drop-off is big. And I'm not like Saka might be up here and we might not get a player better, but we need someone here. I just think it's there. Obviously, Wanyeri, I'm not dissing him, but you get it. I think Magalhaes is there, you know, obviously. And even with Kivior, with the greatest of respect, because at the end of the day, we're going to back him out there. But I've said this before, like, obviously, the first choice pairing is Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. But then after that, there's probably a lot of other options that people would explore before they get to the Kivior boat. You know, there's extremely certain people might, especially in the context of Real Madrid, and there is knock-on effects or domino effects on the squad, but certain people will probably have asterisks, but certain people will probably have Declan Rice ahead of Kivior in the pecking order, Benjamin White ahead of him, Calafiori with his defensive frailties in the pecking order, Tomiyasu if it, Timber potentially moving to centre half, and I might be missing out one or two players, but you get the point, man. But I do think Blackgate, you're right, it did take the joy out, man. It's a funny old game, innit, in that you get one player back, couple man go down, we're in trouble. I do wonder if Timber is cool, will he do a thing where it's Lewis Skelly, Saliba to Timber, and then Partey goes right back? There's so many. There's even, I think there's logic with Tierney going in there as well, man. Just because Tierney's a leader, is experienced left back, nothing to do with Lewis Skelly. I back him all the way, but I need some leadership defensively there, man. Is what it is, man. Right centre back Ben White, left centre back Saliba. That's our best bet. I hear it. Is Ben White available to play centre back? I guess he weren't in the match day squad. They do seem a bit positive in relation to Benjamin White, but honest to God, your guesses are good as mine. Arteta and the board need to take accountability. 6 hamstring injuries this season is not unlucky, gross negligence. Relying on guys like Tomiyasu, Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, all too injury prone. Facts, I just want depth with a superstar striker. There's too many men playing and covering other people's position. There's no true rotation. And also, yeah, that's where Arteta's going to have to learn to trust his squad and be a bit cute and clever, if I'm honest with you, because you've got learned experiences now, being an Arsenal man, pardon me, in the last 2 seasons. You could say Europa League as well, but Champions League, like being a team that's trying to fight on 4 fronts. So Arteta needs to learn that. And the board, man, Everton away is a nasty game to play, especially when you're trying to be cautious on the injury front. Bunch of barbarians. Good luck. And it's dark because that's where you want Magalhaes, because I do think it's one against Everton. You have to nick it, set piece. Obviously, David Moyes has turned their season around. It's their last year at Goodison Park. Like nobody really wants to play against Everton at Goodison Park. It is one of those fixtures, not the most scariest of fixtures, but like when the fixture list is announced, me personally, I look at the top 6 games. But then I also look at Newcastle away, Liverpool away, Everton away, Aston Villa for us away, Fulham away in the last few years, but them kind of games there. So it is that. And honestly, if you're David Moyes, you're getting at Kivior. And with the greatest of respect to Kivior, anyone that's played Sunday League, I'm not saying like everybody can, like Isaac has tore Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba a new one. So anyone can have bad games, anyone can get stressed out. But anyone that's played Sunday League, you can smell it when you know when you can get at a player. A bit like when we used to have a decent back 5, including the keeper, but Zinchenko was the weak spot. You look at a man and you're like, yeah, I can get you. Kivior don't necessarily give you that confidence. Like if you're an attacker, you think you can get change out of him. Thanks for the mod status. Can I put Marcel in timeout? Chill out. Don't do that. No foolishness, please. Marcel is the only troll. He's a mod himself, so he's the only troll that's allowed to do that nonsense because he's been here from the jump. Like, we've really rebuilt our mod status. Please, I don't want to clip people from the mod status, man. Now it's Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest away as well. To a degree, yeah, you're right. Smash their likes. But But yeah, quality additions to the starting 11 and depth, really and truly. And that's why I don't mind in theory. But out of all the guys that are here at the club but not here at the club, I'm not necessarily against keeping Fabio Vieira as a body. I understand he needs to be moved on. I'm not saying we can't upgrade and do other things, but there is a conversation potentially to hold on to one or two players, regardless of what we might get, regardless of how their contract is running out. And honestly, it's one where I kind of think the club's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I am happy that I am not Mikel Arteta, Alberto, and everyone in and around that, man. I wouldn't say flop, though. He isn't a bomb at all. Who are you referring to? Big up yourself, KDM, as well. Is that Williams, Zubamendi, Hato, Garcia? What does that do next season? Makes me a lot more confident, but you probably got to change Isaac to Sesko or Gyökeres. Would love to get Williams over the line. You'd imagine everyone on the dog's going to be in the fight to get him. Zubamendi the same. Seems like Garcia the same. Bring Joel Hato tomorrow, bro. But him the same. Like, I know he's your boy, but that Gyökeres video was nonsense in my opinion. What are you referring to? What was Gyökeres video? Fair enough. How bad is it looking for Gabby? We've been in problems all season. Like, it's only because we're playing Real Madrid that I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And naturally, you know, you want a man to be fit. You want your best players to play, even the players I don't rate of all clubs. I don't like. I'm not saying anyone here does it, but I don't like to see players injured. It's an unnecessary part and parcel element of the game. I never wish injury on players. It's a man's health and all that kind of stuff, man. But I would say beyond the obvious, like, we know who gets the injuries, and like, you could sit there in August and, well, I wouldn't have said Calafiori, but maybe in hindsight, you look at his injury record and you could see maybe that. But I would say definitely Zinchenko, Kivior, Gabriel Jesus, to a degree, Partey, he's been an exception to that rule. Them kind of guys, you know, they're going to get pick-up knocks in the season. And now you've not only got that, but you know, the more durable players have, it's been mad. My lineup versus Madrid: Raya, Luis Skelly, Rice, Saliba, Timber, Merino, Partey, Odegaard, Martinelli, Trossard, Saka. We're damned if we do, damned if we don't, man. Yeah, chill. Do you rate Alanga? I like Alanga a lot. Fun fact, I can't remember, was it under 17s or under 19s tournament? We watched it together. There's a video out when I did a little scouting video on the players that impressed me, and he was there for Sweden. Obviously, I'm not going to say I can see what he's going to do in the Prem, but I thought he's a decent little player, and United could do with him. That defending was horrific for Manchester United. And I must admit, I caught the highlights. Murillo. I know Eddie had a lot of issues, and I don't even know if he wanted them. But, you know, where I look at Bruno Gomares, to a degree, Douglas Luiz, Murillo, I see the angle, Eddie, man. I see the angle, man. Tonight is the semi-final Copa del Rey. Atletico versus Barca will be a good game for anyone interested. It will be. The manager's inability to manage the squad properly is the cause of everyone's injuries. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And my viewpoint is, I do think fans exaggerate with the need for rotation, because you cannot have consistency with rotating everyone. I'm sure Mikel Arteta, Arne Slot, everyone, if life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. You want to rotate everyone. You want to give everybody fair minutes. That's not it. The game is the game. And rightly or wrongly, this is the element we're in now. Bare games for club and country if you're a half-decent player. Look in the last 2 years, excluding this season, and now include it for the Declan Rices, the Sakas, etc. You need a bigger squad. But at the same time, I'm with you in that Arteta needs to trust certain squad players or get players in. That's where we said it last season. Like, we didn't buy any real game changers in summer. I like Calafiori, but at this moment in time, are you a level above Luis Skelly or anybody like a left back? Probably not. Merino, you're doing your thing. You're not a level raiser in any of, you're not really pushing in the starting 11 where the midfield three is concerned. And the less said about Neto and Raheem Sterling, the better. And then it is great to get a decent fee for, and I'm not saying to keep these guys, but Eddie and Nketiah, Smith Rowe, Ramsdale. Ramsdale's not really relevant. You know, Nelson went. I've got no qualms with that. But it's like, when you consider the quality, like bringing in quality, which we failed to do, and the quantity, it's like we were here, we stepped forward, and then we stepped back. So there's movement, but is there progression? And if you moved forward and moved back, is that progression or regression, or is that stagnation? Or did you really do anything? I think there's been complacency, man. And I do think Arsenal, I'd say Arsenal fans as well, yeah. But I would also say the club, well, they're less naive than fans. But, You need to get out of this trap of thinking you can win leagues and win stuff in ideal conditions. Bearing in mind, we've seen what one injury can do with Saliba. We've seen what injuries can do this year with everybody. We saw last season we had 3 key injuries, even though we kept maintaining. And Mikel Arteta has worked at City. He knows why you need a big squad. We've seen it from other teams. Like, I'm not sure what year it was, but there was one year Liverpool were fighting on all fronts. They had bare injuries and fell off a cliff. So we knew what time it was. We knew what time it was, man. Man United needs Gyökeres more than Arsenal. Both need a forward, man. That's how you know certain men are slow. You can't time out. Hey, stop it. He's joking. He's joking. So, yeah, and I do think you're right. Mikel Arteta needs to be a bit cute and clever and rest players where you can and do those kind of things, man. Like, the only time I've seen Saka kind of rested is, well, no, you weren't even really rested. It's like last season, we was thumping up teams away from home. Saka would be on a brace, and then we'd obviously sub him. So, yeah, Arteta's going to have to learn that because enough's enough now, isn't it? Really and truly. The lack of depth, the evident holes in the starting 11, the injuries, all the stuff that we're talking about is jarring. Had we have acted in the market like in January or the summer and we had the depth or we done everything we needed to do or the majority and it played out this way, on the injury front, I'd say fair enough. I have sympathy for the players. I don't have sympathy for the football club, Mikel Arteta and everybody where it comes to injuries because you know this could happen. I've got sympathy for the players and fans, though. So, yeah, man, 66 minutes. Saka made his return after 101 days out. He scored in the 73rd. Being at the game, it was magical, man. It was magical. It was magical, like. This did upset me. Shout out Smith Rowe as well. Did a little interview, 30-second interview with him. Saka's got 23 GAs in 22 starts, man. Not bad for a left back, hey? Not bad for a left back, man. Quality, quality, quality. And it's lovely. And this was a lovely moment seeing that as well with the physio team. Saka, we have to manage his minutes carefully and whatnot. But he looked a lot fresher than I thought, man. So I'd love Arsenal to kind of tell us like what was going on with his rehabilitation. And clearly great surgery. Bukayo Saka last featured in the Prem back in December. And he still ranks second in big chances created and assists provided. So it also tells you how good he is. And it also tells you how good he is to our team. But we need people that can pick up the slack. Like this one might not be Saka's ability, but a new left winger might be able to offer us 50%. And these other guys might score and just share the burden, man. Because I do find it a bit weird as a football fan. Like on a transfer front, I'm putting all my trust in Berta. We're living or dying by Bukayo Saka. That is not sustainable over 38 games and however far you go in all the other cups, people. So, yeah. And it was nice to see him back. And it's not going to get any easier for Bukayo Saka or any of these. You know, if you're playing for, a club that's in all comps or going all the way in all the comps or getting to the latter stages and you're playing for your country, what? You got to play out what's left of this season, what's left of the Champions League, what's left of the Premier League. You have a couple of weeks off in which all of these players are going to be watching what they eat, all of that kind of stuff. And then you're back for pre-season. And then next year it's a World Cup year. So it's not getting any time soon. I think there's a wider discussion in relation to player welfare. I do think some fans, definitely not you lot, but them fans are, they're getting paid a lot of money. They can't be depressed or they can't care about rest. If I was getting paid, I would do this. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Whether it's football becoming more system-based, as to why I would say we don't enjoy football games per se, and it's almost like they're robots and they're athletes first, football is second. But there's also a shit amount of games. And it's not getting any easier. Why? Because the fat cats that control the game that you and everybody else love, then they're seeing the product. The Champions League has expanded. The Club World Championship has expanded. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but either the World Cup or the Euros, there's been talk of expansion. It's not getting any easier. So what do we do about that? Do we learn about rehab and rehabilitation and being cute and clever with when we play players? Do we have bigger squads? Clearly. I think all Premier League clubs are going to have to start using their academy, whether they rate them or not. You either get in enough depth or you have to use them players because it's not getting any easier. All the fat cats care about is how many games can we get on TV? How many bums on seats can we get in the stadiums? How much money can they make? They don't care about me or you because they make up. They know we love football. And, especially in today's living day and age where everything's expensive, man, are not going to give up season tickets. People are going to wake up abroad. That's stupid. Like, big up the foreign fans. You lot that live in America and Asia and Africa and all them places. You know that you might have to take the kids to work. You got to get the kids ready. You got to go to work. You're going to be up at 3, 4 a.m. You're going to sign up to TV subscriptions. They don't care. They don't care about the players. They don't care about the fans. They don't care. Every week, we hear players complaining about the amount of games. We hear managers speaking about that. We even hear international managers think about that. We offer our thoughts on that. If nothing changes, nothing's going to change. So how do we adapt? Arsenal with and without Saka. I mean, we don't need any statistics to tell us Saka's a baller for us, innit? 16 games with, 13 without. We won 9 with him and 7 without. We had 6 draws with him, 4 without. We had 1 loss with him. We had 2 without. We have a win percentage of 56.3. Without, it drops to 53%. Points per game, 2.1 with him. Without him, it drops to 1.9. But again, we need to be able to find ways of getting over the line to a degree without your star players, if I'm honest with you, throughout the course of the season. And I was at the press conference. Arteta said the best example is Bukayo Saka's reaction. After he scored a goal, what does he do? He goes and says thank you to the sports science and physios for what they've done for him. What a guy, Saka, man. What a guy. I was excited, innit? Saka has now scored and assisted 10 plus goals across all comps in each of his last 3 seasons. The first Arsenal player to do so since Alexis Sanchez between 2014-15 and 16-17. Could you imagine Alexis Sanchez off the left? And obviously Saka on the right. Or even Alexis Sanchez, false 9, Saka on the right. Fuck it, Martinelli, you're quick in it. You do your thing in it. You're not on them man's level, but you do your thing. What a star, boy. And we got him for free, bro. Arteta, let's start spending peas. I mean, if you told me in 2021 Smith Rowe would be playing for Fulham, I'd have said you're mad. And I would say for Smith Rowe, I think you're getting back into that territory that harmed you at Arsenal, because prior to the game, when Marco Silva praised him, spoke about his ability, but then started speaking about consistency and certain things, it was almost identical to what Arteta said this week about Smith Rowe, and also what's indirectly been said. But shout out Emil, man. Only 3 players have scored 20 plus goals and provided 20 plus assists for Arsenal in the Premier League since Arteta took charge in December 2019. Those are Martin Odegaard, Saka, and Martinelli. And only one of those players has really, for the last couple of years, got better and better and maintained at a minimum that consistency level and given us a degree of expectation. Now, one thing I think about Berta, you know, Martin Odegaard, he's still my guy. I'm not going to write him off and all of these kind of things, but Odegaard's our captain. He's the poster boy. He has got a complicated role in the system, but he's on big money. And at the end of the day, if you're not doing the job, we can't have coasters. Saka deserves a lot more. Saka earns less than Odegaard. Not that I'm pocket watching. Martinelli's on 180 grand a week. There's going to, I think both of these guys' futures are secure for this season, but there's uncomfortable conversations to be had, people, if I'm honest with you. Is it a bird? Is it play? No, it's just Martinelli. Oh, Martinelli. Do. You lot, make sure Jessica Black, aka She Knows Arsenal, does not run away tomorrow, because we got conversations. Sammy as well. We got some uncomfortable conversations. Martinelli created as many chances as every other player on the pitch combined in the first half versus Fulham. He completed 100% of his 13 passes. Now, people say, oh, Fulham, they played on the weekend, and Timothy Cassage, this and that. Everyone had a lot to say where Martinelli couldn't get anything out of Ashley Young. Martinelli, you're a squad player. I think we need an upgrade. I've gone past that point of expecting you to improve. I kind of accept you what you are. As much as I feel you're best in situations where you don't have to think, I could caveat my own logic and say the best footballers are the best thinkers. That's something I genuinely believe. But big up Martinelli. 6 of Mikel Merino's 7 Premier League goals have given his side the lead in the match. Big him up, because this is your best period at the club. He scored against Chelsea, scored against Netherlands, and scored against Fulham. Big him up, man. Big him up. 60.5%. Arsenal's win percentage is 60.5% with Gabriel Magalhaes in the Prem, compared to 40.9% when he's absent. I mean, that's screwed a bit, because he's been available to play more games than he's been injured, but these things can strike at any time. Wanyeri, at 18 years of age and 11 days, is the second youngest player across Europe's big 5 leagues to reach 10 plus goal involvements across all comps this season. He's got 8 goals and 2 assists. He's behind only Lamine Yamal. He had a good first half. Needs it beyond the obvious. Wanyeri, please learn to stay on side, because that was frustrating me. Martinelli as well, but we're at where we're at with Nelly, if I'm honest with you, people. Especially because Timber tried to play on. Magalhaes is one. You don't want to hear it. Lewis Skelly won 7 fouls against Fulham last night. No players won more in a Premier League match this season. Shout out to him, people. Mikel Arteta says defenders Gabriel Magalhaes and Timber will be assessed after sustaining injuries. We all know Magalhaes had to come off in the 60th minute. Timber looked to continue, but then he had to come off around 70. Arteta said, we don't know how they're going to be. If there are two players in this team who never want to come off, it's probably those two. Gabby felt something in his hamstring. We don't know how big that is. With Timber, he was already struggling very early in the game. He managed to continue, but at one point he couldn't. Durian was his knee. So I like the fact that he tried to continue and he couldn't go on. But sometimes, and I'm not saying this is with Timber or Arteta, how much was he running on adrenaline? How much sometimes can continuing to play on actually damage yourself? And was that not the case with Timber when he got that ACL? Like he went down in the first half, we tried to soldier it, and then he went down in the second half, and then it was dark for us. Martinelli did say as well, the good thing is that it's been like this the whole season. You see Martinelli today, we missed him for 3 months. We missed Bukayo for 4 months, Kai for 4 months, Gabriel Jesus the whole season. How we have managed to be where we are with all those injuries. Ben White hasn't participated at all this season. It is what it is. We want it so much that we're going to give it a real go, and we're very excited for next week. I mean, it sounds good and it is courageous. And yeah, many other teams would have fallen off if they had this amount of injuries. But at the same time, what does that mean? Like, how far? I'm not dissing it, but how far does that go? It sounds courageous, Mighty Ducks, Coach Carter thing. Where does that go, though? What does that mean? Because we can keep doing this courageous thing in Kumbaya, and it'd be romantic if, you know, with the league being cut to 9 points, if Liverpool F up and it becomes a title race, and if despite all of this, no one gives us a chance, we go and do our thing against Real Madrid. But it does. I'm not saying Arteta, but this is what I banned under glorious losing. Like, this don't mean anything. Is this bravery or is it incompetence? There's a very thin line between bravery and stupidity, respectfully. So, yeah, man. Gabriel Magalhaes, apologies, only missed 4 games this season. We're just going to have to get on with it, man. We're going to have to get on with it. No clue what this was in reference to. On Benjamin White, he had a little niggle 2 days ago. Yesterday, we tried. He wasn't feeling right, so we decided not to put him in the squad today. I mean, prevention is better than cure. Hopefully, he can participate against Everton and Real Madrid and resume his career, man. I do think Arsenal fans do this little weird thing in that Timber's lit, so it's peak for Ben White and whatnot. If there's, and I've said this last year, I said this the year before, if there's ever been a time you can see why you need a squad, it is now, especially because of the more durable players. You know, Benjamin White has, we've seen the Rob Holding interviews. These men have played with knocks and niggles and all these things. Declan Rice don't get any ideas about getting injured. 4 players in 1 week. I think I heard him say this in the press conference. Anyways, we went over the beautiful moment. We love Bukayo, man. We went over that already. He did also say, Calafiori, Ben White, Timber, Magalhaes. You can imagine how I feel with those 4 players in the defensive line in 1 week. We still have another 4 that are so bloody willing that they'll do their job, which is true, man. And all the faith in all those players. But yeah, it is impossible not to love Bukayo Saka, man. Should we see exactly what the gaffer has said? On Saka's return, we know how beautiful it is. We know the emotions at full time. We're happy to have you back. We went over this, people, with Gabriel Magalhaes feeling something in his hamstring, and we now know Timber was his knee. We went over that. We know that the staff is important. On Mikel Merino's impressive goal scoring return, it's good he has that capacity to score goals, to sense the danger, and to move in the right moments into the right spaces. Big you up, because you made a good goal at playing up front, even though we should never be in situations like this. It's been a crazy year, ultimately, with no silverware at this point. Today was a different goal, but then you ask him to play as a 9 and he does it perfectly, and he understands the timing, the positionings, the role, so good. So joy to have players like this. I thought Wanyeri had some really good moments. Martinelli was superb as well. You see how much we missed the threat, that attacking purpose that he has every time he's on the ball. So good performances, especially because there have been some big players in very, very critical positions and affecting the whole line. But we have a lot of good news as well. Look at Mikel, look at Ethan, look at the other players doing around it. It's true. But if this is said if next season, God forbid, this happens and we don't have better contingency plans, simply put, more players, you ain't learned. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. On the learning experience in managing injuries, and this is all going to help Mikel Arteta. You know, you look at when he walked into the club, you know, had to deal with COVID, ripping up contracts, player bust-ups, all the things that he's done. This is going to help you as a manager. But I only care about Arsenal. So there has to be some light at the end of the tunnel, because all of these learned experiences are going to help you when you eventually depart Arsenal. But this has to correlate with getting silverware eventually. You're scratching your head. I'm having the next few games the same. At the same time, it's been a great learning experience for us and all the coaches and staff to manage that situation. At the end at the end, the players are going to react how we react to it. You start to feel sorry for yourself and say it's impossible. How we're going to do it, it will be impossible. But these boys don't give you the reason to act like that. And look where we are in April. At the end of the day, like with my life, I look at all the negatives and all the reasons to probably be negative. But beyond that, show courage and fight. By the end of the day, how far does that go? On Kivio, the good thing with Jacob is that he's been very reliable. I don't know, Gaffer. Every time we need him, he's always there. He's available. He does his job. We asked him to play as a left centre-back, as a right centre-back, as a left full-back. He's ready. He's got a smile on his face, does he? It's sad for Big Gabby, but he really wanted to play as well and will be fine. On whether Kivio could be up for the challenge against Madrid, if you ask the dressing room how much they want to play the next 2 games in the Real Madrid game, believe me, everyone wants to be on the pitch. The gaffer can't and shouldn't say anything different. What has Declan Rice said? You could see him coming off the pitch, how happy he was in relation to Saka. I think the reaction from the fans speaks for itself, how much he's loved here. He's the man, isn't he? He's the one that we've all been waiting for to come back fit. We've got him back at a crucial time, so let's see what happens. He's worked so hard, really, really hard. I've seen him every day. It's been a nice reset for him, even though he didn't really want to get injured. He's back fit, he's training, he's ready. He's unbelievable. Seeing him up close and training, his technical quality and what he has as a player and how he adapts himself to the team. It's not easy being a midfielder who can play as an 8 or a 6, but then being asked to play 9 is a whole different ball game, especially with how the manager wants to play. He's put himself out for the team. He's a good guy, and to score a proper striker's goal is amazing. Shout out Marino. Most teams now come to the Emirates and put a back 5 against us, which is true, and Fulham showed that. So it's tough to break down, but we stuck to our process and scored a good goal in the first half. Then obviously the star boy came back and scored his goal in the second half, which was really special. Overall, good to get back out there and win the game. We've been away from each other for 16 days, so it's good to get back and win is a real positive. There are big games coming up, and it's an exciting time to be an Arsenal player. Is it? Arsenal have never lost in 32 home league games against Fulham. It's the most home games one side has played against another without ever losing in English Football League history, people. Tommy Asu was spotted at the game. Would have been nice to have him on the bench, but you can't have everything in this life. Shout out Skelly, man. No defender has won more fouls in the Premier League since the start of the 2017 campaign than Lewis Skelly's. Miles Lewis Skelly's 7 against Fulham. He's the first Arsenal player to win 7+ fouls in a Premier League game since Gabriel Jesus versus Man United in September 2022. If that was in the quiz, I would have got that wrong, people. Moving away from that, Arsenal are looking ahead to what is expected to be a huge summer transfer window. Berta has now started his role, as we know. He's said to be a long-term admirer of Gyökeres. Another striker linked with a move to the Emirates is Vlahovic. Man United, Chelsea, and Newcastle are all said to be interested. Allegedly, Manchester City are eyeing up William Saliba. Now, because of Saliba's quality, where he can go in the game, what he means to us, obviously the contract, it makes sense. Real Madrid have been linked. I don't give credit to any of the City rumors, but I give it's a compliment, though. And Arsenal and Man United are said to be battling up for Gyökeres. We're going to get back into the Gyökeres stuff. Nico Williams has said still focused, whatever that means. But yeah, let's move on. Gyökeres is set to cause a major transfer domino if he joins Arsenal this summer. The Gunners are actively searching to bring a new forward to the club during the 2025 summer window. They've intensified their pursuit of Gyökeres amid concerns over the ability to fund a move for Alexander Isak. Arteta has confirmed that it'll be a busy summer. You've all seen it. He said, be excited. And we want he name dropped depth. We've covered that before. And at 4 p.m., I'm going to ask Kenny Ken, DJB, and Aaron Talks Arsenal their thoughts. Gyökeres is one of the club's alleged key targets, and his potential move to the Emirates could have a monumental effect on the summer transfer window. So what how causes a domino? Everybody wants a striker, man. We'll have to see the Liam Delaps, the Osmans, the Gyokereses, the Isaks. There's so many strikers, and they're all linked with the same clubs, whether they're going to leave or not. Mikel Arteta has promised a big summer transfer window following the appointment of Andrea Berta. Respectfully to the manager, my nan, God bless her soul, R.I.P. She told me a promise is a comfort to a fool. And Arteta didn't really promise anything, but I'll believe it when I see it on all fronts. The first words we're winning, improving, and demanding. His drive and will to win is going to be very contagious. That was the manager's thoughts on Berta. It's been suggested it could be a record-breaking transfer period for the Gunners with as much as 360 million euros spent on major acquisitions. Although such an investment would, of course, also have to be partially funded by sales. Arsenal are planning to add a striker. Isaac, Gyökeres, Sesko, they've been linked. We also want to add at least 2 midfielders, which is music to my ears. Zubamendi will be one. I hope he is. But the Gunners also want to add 1 or 2 younger additions. Additionally, the wings are set to be bolstered. Nico Williams has been made a priority by Arteta, while it's been claimed that talks have taken place with Leroy Sané. A backup goalkeeper and potentially a third choice is also needed, while a left back could also join as well, people. It's going to be a big one. We're excited about it. The way we planned the 5 first summers, they were going to be very big and they were going to have different objectives. So what did we plan last year? Because the turnaround of players and the objective of those windows was going to be different. But now when you're going to go again, we want to increase the depth of the squad, but as well, we want to increase the quality and the skills that we need to go to the next step. Music to my ears. Let's go out there and do it. We have been linked with Leroy Sané. Arsenal are said to seriously be interested in signing him as a free agent, and allegedly concrete talks have already taken place. Can you see Nico Williams and Sané being brought in, or is this a contingency plan? Bearing in mind, he is still linked with contract talks at Bayern, so it could be a bit of whispers. The 29-year-old is out of contract this summer. We'll have to see. We're open to the talks. Surely he would have to take some degree of a wage cut. Allegedly, West Ham are prepared to sell Kudus this summer with his release clause set at 85 million. He's been linked with Saudi Arabia, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Real Madrid have made contact allegedly with Zubamendi, which is bad news for us. Arsenal and Chelsea are preparing offers in the region of 35 to 40 million euros to sign Barcelona midfielder Casado. Allegedly, we've gone over this with William Saliba. Is there anything else? If Newcastle qualify for the Champions League this season, the Alexander Isak transfer saga is a non-issue this close season. He'd likely stay at the club, whoever that is. Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea, Man United are all in the race to sign Vlahovic, with a 25-year-old set to leave Juventus this summer. Is there anything else for us? Bernardo Silva wants to leave. I mean, anyone that likes the look of João Pedro and Balemba, Brighton have put 100 million price tags on the 23-year-old and 21-year-old alike. So you got to get these guys before. Troy Deeney doesn't believe Victor Gyökeres is good enough to fire Arsenal to the Premier League this season. What has he said, people? I genuinely think he's a good footballer. He works really hard, all of that, but I don't think he's a natural finisher. To be fair, Deeney is a professional striker, or was, so you have to take him what he's saying. Doesn't mean he's right, though. And again, everyone is going to pull out his goal record. I get that, but I don't think he takes either of those two winning the Premier League. That's just my opinion. And if he did, they'd already bought him. Fair enough. We still are linked with Ollie Watkins. Well, it says here, in addition to Gyökeres and Isak, Arsenal also monitoring the situation of Sesko. Football Transfers understands that a move to the Emirates is still on the cards for the Slovenian international. Ollie Watkins remains on our radar, while the likes of Victor Osimhen, Jonathan David, and Liam Delap have all been linked with a switch, people. Arsenal been told they'll have to pay a fortune to sign Jonathan David on a free transfer. Why? How? According to TBR, we've held talks. Bert has been holding talks with his entourage. He's wanted by Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle, West Ham, Juventus, and Inter. I don't know how much I'm going to take in of that. Apparently, he's demanding a gross salary of 9 million euros per year and a 15 million euro signing on fee for the striker, plus an agent fee of 10 million. All in all, it would cost over 34 million over the first year alone for Arsenal to sign David, if this is true. I reckon his heart is set on La Liga. I think he goes to Italy, people. Arsenal make inquiry to sign 29-year-old Bundesliga striker as cheaper Isak alternative. Arsenal have made a possible move for Mohamed Almora in the summer. The 24-year-old is enjoying an excellent campaign in the Bundesliga, having racked up 10 goals and 8 assists in his opening 24 appearances for Wolfsburg under former Southampton manager Hasenhüttl. Smash the like button. Despite missing the start of the season with a knee injury, only Elise, Marmoush, and Wirtz have registered more assists than Almora, with 7 games remaining in the German top flight this term. While Almora joined on a season-long loan from Belgium outfit Union SG, I'm sure Boniface used to play for them. Wolfsburg have an option to sign the diminutive forward, so you're already not going to get signed by Arsenal, for a fee of £12 million. So I'd imagine if we're scouting strikers all over, naturally, he's going to be on everybody's list. Arsenal, Liverpool, and Forest have all been linked with him. I don't know if I believe that. Apparently, he could be available for 29 to 33.5 million euros. We'll have to see. What is Nico? Well, we've gone over the Nico Williams thing. Arsenal get approval to sign Cunha. Arsenal's interest in one-away Wolves star Cunha has not gone away ahead of the summer transfer window. We all know he signed a new deal. This is saying we could go to battle with Liverpool for Cunha. He's got a 62.5 million release clause despite signing a new deal, and we have seen his interview in recent days about wanting to play somewhere else. Gyokeres' preference between Arsenal and United has been revealed. According to reports, he's one of Europe's most sought-after stars, following a superb return of 42 goals in 42 appearances in all comps thus far. The Gunners are interested in signing an attacking option in the summer, while Amorim is reportedly keen on a reunion with the former striker at United. The two Premier League sides are considered the front runners in the race to sign Gyökeres, with a number of other European clubs in Europe also tracking Gyökeres. However, according to Portuguese outlet Ebola, the Sweden international favours a summer move to North London over any other option. The outlet claims that the Gunners are ahead in the race to sign Gyökeres, with Sporting willing to listen to the players' desires before sealing a deal. In fact, they claim Gyökeres already has a short list of clubs that be interested. He's also been linked with Atletico Madrid. Instead, that'd be interested in joining, and United, along with Amorim, are not on the list. This is because the Swede is keen on joining a side playing in the Champions League, which Man United do not. The outlet suggests that along with Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester City on the striker shortlist. I mean, Liverpool need an out-and-out striker, so do Arsenal, so it makes sense. City, you could be part of the squad. I don't buy that one there. I'm sure everybody's scouted, but scouting doesn't necessarily mean interest. PSG, maybe. I very much doubt Bayern Munich. I don't know what's going to happen with Kane. I very much doubt Barcelona. He has a release clause set at 85 million. We've also seen reports that it could be available in the region of 50. It's recently reported that Arsenal developed a strong interest in the Sporting star following the arrival of Andrea Berta as Sporting director. We do need a striker because if everybody's fit, we need someone who can score goals. Obviously, we've had injuries. Kai Havertz has 15 goals in all comps this season. Boy, we need to upgrade whatever way you shape it, people. The Gunners also hold an interest in Isak. However, signing him from the Magpies could prove to be a difficult task. In total, meanwhile, Gyökeres has scored 85 times in 92 games since joining Sporting from Coventry. Boy, we'll have to see, mate. And he has scored a staggering 83 goals in 91 for the club. Bro, he's doing all right, and he did his thing at Coventry. Nathan Butler-Odeji, who unfortunately Gow was on the bench despite playing for the 21s against Norwich. We did a watch-along on Monday. Didn't get to play on the bench. Apparently, Norwich City, ironically, are eyeing a move for Arsenal attacker Nathan Butler-Odeji on a free transfer this summer. Canary Sporting director Ben Napier is a big fan of the forward after working with him during his time at Arsenal. Need to go and play first team football. If Norwich and you'd link up with Jack Wilshere, if they're going to have you in their plans, fair enough. Liverpool are one of the clubs well informed on a potential move for Xavi Simons. He could be available for 60 million, and the Premier League could be his destination. He has also this same people said that we need to try and find that. Romano has said that Arsenal are interested. Everybody's interested in everyone. Whether people are going to front up the money required is a complete another thing. Imagine that Kudus, Semenyo, and Mitoma, three players, better yet, that Arsenal fans wouldn't mind, have been pinpointed as summer targets by Al Nassr. The Saudi club believes that Bournemouth would sell Semenyo for around 75 million. Man United have held more discussions internally over a move for Delap, who ironically used to play for City. His release clause if Ipswich go down is 40 million. Lorenzo Luca, who was linked to us, has been added to Manchester United shortlist. Chelsea are considering 100 million euros offer to sign Rafael. Would you lot do that? I need to find this. Porto will demand Samu's 100 million release clause is fully met this summer amid interest from United, Barca, Bayern Munich, Spurs, and West Ham. Arsenal have begun talks with Sane over potential free transfer this summer. However, he is willing to take a pay cut to stay at Bayern. So that's that, man. Our name's just being thrown in with it. There we have it. Follow up. Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea are all monitoring Xavi Simons. That don't mean anyone's going to make a move anytime soon. Romano says there's one signing he's sure Arsenal are absolutely guaranteed to make this summer. We're guaranteed a striker, or are you going to say personnel? Arsenal will obviously bring in a striker. That's absolutely guaranteed and obvious. That remains the dream target. The dream target already in January, already 1 year ago, Arteta considers Isak the perfect striker for his ideal football and for Arsenal. But then we have to respect Newcastle. What we mentioned in the last year on the podcast is that Newcastle must be respected because they're doing well. They just want a trophy. They want to bring important players in the summer. They want to build something important for the future. So to keep Isak is absolutely crucial for Newcastle. So they keep insisting at the club that Isak is not available this summer. So my expectation for Arsenal is to try, and also for Liverpool to be in the race for Isak. So draw with that what you will, people. I mean, Vlahovic is still being linked. There you go. We've gone over everything, ain't we, people? 4 shots on target, 2 goals. So same kind of problems remain at Arsenal Football Club. Highlighted via that game. Is there anything new? Big up Bakayo. Not really. But yeah, we got through that part of the live stream. Let me go back and see what you guys are saying. We still ain't got 100 likes. You lot boying it, man. Big up yourself. I want Gyökeres because if we don't get him, someone else will. He's 100% going somewhere. I don't want him in the Prem if he's not with us. Man, he's a goal scoring machine. Whatever happened about that Igor Jesus, probably just our names being thrown in the ring, people. These journalists are stealing a living, fictional writers for a living. But Jonathan David isn't worth anywhere near that. No wonder nobody wants Jonathan David. Why, Sane? Surely they have other targets. Whatever Troy says, the opposite is generally true. The man said Leroy in 2025. How does the number keep going up is the question I have. Man said Alex doesn't like Gyökeres, but better does. If we were to sign one player in one position, what profile player would you want? It depends on the position. If it depends on the position. I like Nico Williams because you seem like you're on taking on your man. I'm quite flexible with the striker. I think there's a lot of strikers of various different abilities and stages in their careers that tick the box. It depends what you want in midfield. I would like a number 8. That's, like I said, Fabregas, Santi loosely. I would like a 1v1 demon out wide. I do want somebody that, as harsh as it sounds, no striker is going to be perfect. Someone that can do the link-up play and all that. But they're a cold-hearted killer. Love Skelly, but I want to see more than a pause body roll. Beat your man and keep going. Just an observation. I think that's very harsh. The gaffer knows what he's doing and in Arteta I trust. Fair enough. I don't trust anything blindly, but fair play. Tired of these man talking about learning, get over the line. Hey, yo, people, smash that like button, bro. We appreciate it. I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired of all the injuries, though. Likes up, run up the thing. The quicker supporters realize Arteta is a cautious manager, the better. We can stop complaining about our flair players turning into recycle merchants. Boy, maybe Timber was just a cramp. I hope so. Arteta is limited Odegaard too. As soon as Saka gets on the pitch here, all of a sudden had a burst of energy. How much of that is just down to Odegaard, though? Manager can't blame the injuries for his trophy this season because he spent 750 million and bought all the players he wanted. How Arsenal for Big Gabby getting injured was saying, well, at least we're solid at the back for Madrid. Well, up the Gunners. I feel like Mikel is too rigid to switch play. He's going to have to evolve the system. Teams probably don't want to keep that much depth because there's Saudi now that can you just yank players away. If we do sign Victor, I hope we develop a two-way attacking threat. Exactly. And change the tactics according to the game opposition only. Transition against a press with Gyökeres and break down low blocks with Saka. Facts, and yet we went with a small squad by design. There you have it. Smash the likes. I'm doing great, Tommy. Hope you're doing well, man. Did Arsenal buy Calafiori on Euro hype like Man United did with, I don't know who that is, but I very much doubt so. My biggest positive about Arteta is that the seasons that both Klopp and Pep had injuries and their teams dropped off massively off a cliff. So there's clearly a good manager in there, needs to get over the line. And that's all it is for me, over the line, man. It's like watching a game of chess at times. Yeah, I'm surprised people didn't fall asleep. Greetings, Arif. The Canon podcast Shout Them Out video with Alex came out this morning, so you might not have seen it. To be fair, it was live, saying that Gyökeres is not the guy for us. Everyone's allowed an opinion, though, man. Everyone's allowed an opinion. And everyone wants to be proven wrong, especially where the striker search is concerned, man. That's down to Odegaard. He hides if Saka isn't there with his right side bias. Never seen a creator allergic to big spaces that aren't the right side of the pitch. Big up DG. What did Alex say about Gyökeres that he wasn't sure he would work? Watch the video, man. Watch the video. I think a lot of agents use Arsenal and other big clubs just to get a new improved contract at clubs. 100%. The game is the game. Like, they're going to do that, innit? That's why you have to take a pinch of salt. I like talking about transfer news, all that crap with you lot, but some signings were led to believe is going to happen. We don't necessarily see it happen. Some signings don't feel it's going to happen. Does. What's going on in the actual world of football and what's being reported are very different things, which is why, for me personally, until people are holding shirts, picture that London Coley, I grew up watching Henri, Vieira, Bergkamp, Ian Wright, all of them kind of guys. It just stays with us talking about stuff, man. Don't really go anywhere. Bakayo, Henri, Wolf, steady. But on that note, though, why bore you lot, though, man? Like, why bore you lot? I'm sure you're tired of hearing my voice. I'm back at 4 p.m. Second live stream of the day. Third, if you include 12:30 to about 1:30. So yeah, big up you lot for tuning in. Big up everyone who smashed the like button. Please make sure you continue to do such. I'm back at 4 p.m. with Kenny Ken, DJ B, and Aaron Talks Arsenal, people. So yeah, enjoy. Peace.